everyone. Anthony Fantano here. Internet's busiest music nerd. And it's time for another episode of Let's Argue, where I go online. I take your hot takes, your unpopular opinions, your tough questions, and I respond to the ones that ain't so much garbage. And here's my response is, I'm tired of doing this accent. Let's go. Having a listening party and then not releasing your album after with no clear line of communication as to why is a move that shows you have no respect for your fan base. I mean, we didn't go that long without at least a somewhat formal reschedule of the date. Of course, we're talking about Kanye West. Donda, you understand. So yeah, Kanye doesn't care about his fan base. I mean, I guess there's an argument there, but I feel like that kind of extends to a lot of things, honestly. I think through Kanye's actions, through his statements, through a variety of different things. I think Kanye has shown to us, has proven to us that the thing that matters most to Kanye is Kanye. And when he communicates that to us in jest, I mean, there is kind of a kernel of truth to it. And while it stinks, as somebody who is a part of that audience in a way, I don't really take it personally, because it seems like when it comes to what Kanye wants to do, basically everything takes a backseat. You are too hard on Mudvayne. Anytime I've heard you mention them, you brush them off as some generic nu metal band, but they made some weird deep stuff. They did also make some generic alt metal later, but even that was far above the work of most of their peers, in my opinion. Well, listen, I mean, I know I've talked a lot of shit over the years. I've said a lot of stuff. I've made a lot of videos. I don't personally recall dragging Mudvayne through the mud. Thank you. I mean, I myself was a fan of their work back in the day. I had LD50 on CD. I think it's generally a dope CD, but like after that, the discography goes downhill. I don't know what to tell you. Is the band as good as Korn? As good as System of a Down? As good as Slipknot? Fucking no, they're not fucking better. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you on fucking crack? The sound that Dig was bringing to the table, the slap bass, the drums, the vocal style, it was all super well established at that point. Like, Mudvayne's best stuff was on their first record, and even at the point that that record came out, like nothing that they were doing was altogether new or advancing the genre forward. They just made some really good stuff in an already established sound. So I don't know, is that writing the band off? I think it's telling the truth and giving historical context. I think talking about the band like they're the greatest fucking thing of all time and God's gift to alternative and new metal is kind of a lie. Let's try this again. Okay. The difference between a 7 and an 8 for you seems way too large for just a one-digit gap. Sour and Punisher. I think you should shift your scale down. No, this is wrong and dumb. I disagree. How is it way too large? I mean, sure, I do put records that I've given an 8 as opposed to a 7 on my loved list, but routinely, records that I give a 7 as opposed to an 8 have singles or key tracks that end up very high on my singles or songs of the year list. There have been numerous records that I've given 7s over the years that have ended up on my favorite albums of the year list, obviously toward the bottom, but obviously the records I've given 7s in the past are not so unlikable in comparison to the 8s that they're not getting mentioned, that they're not getting like respect. I often do my honorable mention videos, and I give a lot of shout outs to records that I find to be 7s in those videos, because they're still good records. They're still good records. I don't understand what makes the gap for these things so large in your mind. If there is a separation there, it's that I love the 8s. Are you saying that I should start just loving the 7s now? Wouldn't that just make the 7s 8s in a way? Like, what the fuck is the problem? I'm always seeing people being mad that Call Me If You Get Lost is worse than Igor. Since Igor was so good, people had very high expectations for Call Me If You Get Lost. And since they didn't like it as much as Igor, they automatically say it's an L. Call Me If You Get Lost does not need to be better than Igor. I agree! Call Me If You Get Lost and every Tyler album from this point does not need to be as good as Igor or be doing anything in the same realm as Igor for them to be good, for them to be respectable, for them to be key and just generally fantastic pieces of Tyler's discography. I mean, look, Igor is a great record, and there are a lot of people that may disagree with my feelings on that, but it's kind of generally accepted that that's the case. Igor is a great record, but I feel like we're doing ourselves and the artist a disservice if every fucking album has to be as great as the one that is our favorite. Now, that's not to say that you can't make comparisons. Certainly, I make a lot, and I love to make them, and they're really fun to make, and quite frankly, convenient to make when there's a certain aspect of the artist's music that is really lacking. Like if, for example, let's just say, for whatever reason, 3 records from now, Tyler's pen game is just absolute shit. It's doo-doo. It's caca. It's like the worst fucking thing I've ever heard in my life. It's like Corey Feldman level bars. And yes, in that case, I will say, well, if we look at Tyler's earlier work, comparisons are fine. But not every new record needs to live up to whatever classic or favorite there is in your head in every single way. Artists can just do different things and maybe just like be slightly under like the greatest thing they've ever done and still be making great stuff. Like, give some breathing room. The beach is wildly overrated. It's only okay if there are a million different specific conditions which rarely come into fruition. The minor inconveniences are too many to call it a good time. Oh, and every cartoon having a beach episode set expectations for kids too high. Look, I'm not even a beach person. I feel like this take is overly harsh. But I feel like I'm mostly not a beach person because I'm from New England, where like beach weather and, as you say here, like beach conditions and beach culture, it pretty much sucks and is shit. But like, you understand there are parts of the world where it's like beach weather year round, right? Like it's beach weather all the time, and the beaches are great, and the beaches are clean, and the water is fantastic, and there's a lot of local culture that's oriented around the beach and just being seaside and so on and so forth. So I mean, those areas, beach is cool, but if you're living in the middle of freaking Connecticut, beach sucks, and it's rare that it's actual beach weather. The fact that you've never talked about any Steely Dan record is a travesty. They sound like no one else and have an incredibly tasteful blend of rock, jazz, and pop structures. And on top of that, they offer some of the most fascinating lyrical content of the 70s rock scene, period! Look, I don't hate Steely Dan. I think the hits are pretty cool. I feel like a lot of the jazz elements in Steely Dan's music are kind of bland. I feel like it sounds like elevator music to me. It just sounds like, and this term is these days used more lovingly, but it sounds like fucking yacht rock. I said it. I mean, sure, it's like heavily influential to a lot of artists out there these days. I mean, there are some artists from the 60s and 70s that I'm kind of perplexed as to why they've caught on with younger millennials and Zoomers. Steely Dan is one of them. And I guess they're fine. I've never hated Steely Dan outright, but their music's never really like blown me away or anything either. I don't think they have the strongest vocals of any band of the 70s either. Yeah, I just think Steely Dan is okay. And I think acting like they're the most unique thing under the fucking sun is really a reflection of a lack of familiarity with the general 70s rock and pop catalog. Bob Dylan invented mumble rap with Subterranean Homesick Blues. I mean, I guess they both have lyrics and people making sounds with their voice. William, I love you and I love your stuff, but I just don't see the throughway here. And that's not to say that there aren't parallels and commonalities within like the framework of rock music when it comes to mumble rap and so on and so forth. I think you could say a lot of grunge out there is like mumble rock in a way. There's a lot of rock music and guitar-based music that frankly it's more about the emotion of the vocals and more about the emotion of the singing than it is the lyrics. Or the lyrics, certainly there's effort put into them, but you can't quite make them out all that easily. So yeah, there's plenty of that out there. I just don't know if it starts with Bob Dylan's Subterranean Homesick Blues. Producer tags are annoying as heck. I don't want to hear "Whoa, Kenny" at the start of every gosh darn track. I know who made the beat. Producer tags, generally I'm fine with them. Where they tend to be a little excessive is like when the producer is the sole producer on an entire record, and we're just kind of hearing your producer tag over and over and over and over and over on the same LP. That's where I think it gets to be a bit much. At that point, it's like, okay, like we knew going into it who it was, but you know, people got to get their name out there, because, you know, Kenny Beats can't come on the mic before a track and be like, hey guys, hey, thanks for listening to the track. It's me, Kenny Beats. I produced it. So before it starts, just remember, I produced the beat. Throwing in a little tag is probably the most sensible way to do it right now.
I'm working on the iron. Earl on the beat. Earl on the beat. Axel.
Just made another one.
Trap house vibe. Oh my God, Bonnie.
You know what? I think I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to leave it at that. This has been another episode of Let's Argue, everybody. Thank you very much for watching. Love you, love you, love you. Over here next to my head, it's another video you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Argue, Music, Forever.